Coming up on the Hilton Head News, the farmers market moves to Shelter Cove Park. We'll have a sample of what you can find. Also ahead, we'll find out what it means to be a so-called toxic charity from the author of the book with the same name. Stand by, the Hilton Head News is next. Welcome to the Hilton Head News. I'm Allie McNair. Governor Nikki Haley has signed legislation that seeks to keep handguns out of the hands of the mentally ill. The bill was prompted by the February arrest of a Ladies Island woman who was accused of trying to shoot a loaded gun outside a Charleston school. The governor signed that bill on Friday. The new law requires state courts and the South Carolina State Law Enforcement Division to report people who have been deemed mentally ill to the National Instant Criminal Background Check System. That system is used for background checks on people seeking to purchase handguns. The legislation requires the decree of mental illness to come from a court on the grounds that the person is either mentally incompetent or a danger to other people. Well, there's a phrase that's becoming well known among people who work with nonprofit and religious organizations. It's also the title of a book known as Toxic Charity. The author of that book, Dr. Robert Lupton, defines toxic charity as one-way giving, when people who intend to do good actually hurt the very people they intend to help. This past Thursday, the Community Foundation of the Lowcountry held a special event at the Congregation Beth Yam Synagogue, where Robert Lupton spoke to a large group that included the leaders, board members, staff, and others associated with nonprofit and religious organizations. The Community Foundation's Cynthia Smith said the audience was interested in learning what Dr. Lupton had to say about toxic charity.
We hear all the time about programs that create dependency, and we ask ourselves, is that what we should be doing? And this whole idea of toxic charity, as it's presented in the book, is talking about that concept of creating independence and having people buy in and retain dignity. So that's what really is important in this whole message this evening.
Later on the Hilton Head News, we sit down with Dr. Lupton to learn more about toxic charity. The Hilton Head Island Farmers Market opened for the season on Wednesday, May 1st. The market is now being held not as it was last year at the Coastal Discovery Museum at Honeyhorn, but at a new location, Shelter Cove Park. The Island Recreation Association, which is running the market this year, says there are 41 vendors selling local farm fresh produce, artworks, sweets, baked goods, and other specialty foods. You can also grab lunch from one of the vendors who will prepare a specialty dish for you. The Shelter Cove Park Farmers Market will be held every Wednesday from now through October 30th from 9 in the morning to 1 in the afternoon. Well, the weather on Saturday didn't keep Volley America members from playing their matches at Coligny Beach. Despite the wind and spotty rain showers, players from several states and different divisions were on hand to compete in the Sprout Watch Open. Extra volleyball nets were set up for the tournament, which took place in front of the Tiki Hut. And fortunately, on Sunday, after the morning rain, the weather slowly improved. The Beaufort County School District has announced its list of 2013-2014 Teachers of the Year. Last week, members of the Board of Education stopped in at teachers' classrooms to announce the recognition for excellence in teaching. Here's a list of the Teachers of the Year on Hilton Head Island. Patty Moskowitz, Hilton Head Island Early Childhood Center. Jill Torre, Hilton Head Island Elementary School. Kristen Karsis, Hilton Head Island High School. Lakeisha Loving, Hilton Head Island Middle School. And Michelle Brockway, Hilton Head Island School for the Creative Arts. And congratulations to all of them. South Carolina's tourism industry has bounced back from the Great Recession, with tourism spending reaching a record $16.5 billion. That news comes from the State Department of Parks, Recreation, and Tourism. The numbers released by the department to the Associated Press show that during 2011, tourism spending was up almost 10% and had surpassed the previous record $15 billion of 2008. 2 South Carolina cities are ranked in the top 10 for their percentages of recent unmarried mothers. According to a new U.S. Census report, across the country, close to 36% of mothers giving birth in 2011 weren't married. Here in South Carolina, Myrtle Beach ranked 4th out of the top 10 metropolitan areas. 2/3, or close to 67%, of its new moms were unmarried, while in Sumter, 6 out of 10 women, or 60% of their new moms, were unmarried. Still to come on the Hilton Head News, we'll find out about Hilton Head Island being named #1 or best beach town from Charlie Clark of the Hilton Head Island Bluffton Chamber of Commerce. Also, we'll hear from the author of Toxic Charity, Robert Lupton, and details on a man facing animal cruelty charges who's being given a second chance. BJ Frazier of the Hilton Head Sun will have details. Stay right there.
The Westin Hilton Head Island Resort and Spa is celebrating its grand renewal. Relax and unwind at the totally renovated resort featuring new pools, lush gardens and courtyards, guest rooms, ballroom, main lobby conservatory, and more. Enjoy family fun on the beach, improve your game with unparalleled golf, indulge your senses with newly inspired Lowcountry cuisine in our refreshed restaurants including Oceanfront View 32 and Barony Bar, and rejuvenate at the Heavenly Spa. Stay for a night, a weekend, or more at the Westin Hilton Head Island Resort and Spa. Be well, be Westin.
It's time for Hot Off the Press with BJ Frazier of the Hilton Head Sun. Hi, BJ.
Hello.
Now, my understanding is there may be more housing that will be built close to the Hilton Head Airport. Can you tell us about that?
Yeah, sure. There's a failed housing development that back during the economic calamity didn't go anywhere, and now the developers have brought it before a planning board on Hilton Head, and they want to change it so instead of 4 homes per acre, they can build 12 homes per acre, and obviously make it more financially viable. And this board, against the recommendations of federal, state, and the town, has recommended that it goes further to the planning board and so forth. So it's really kind of interesting, and it's the problem with it is, yes, it is close to Hilton Head Airport on Beach City Road, so we'll see what happens. It comes before the planning committee on June 18th.
Well, I know you'll keep us posted on that, BJ. You also have some information for us on a property owner, a resident on Hilton Head Island who's being given a second chance. Tell us about that if you would.
Yeah, Michael Cohen Jr. Has property, and he has a number of horses, pigs, and dogs on it. And he's been cited with 17 misdemeanor violations of failure to provide clean drinking water and shelter for these animals. And it's kind of sad that the whole thing has come to light, but what the town has said is we're going to drop all these charges if you make the corrections, if you clean up the water supplies, if you build shelters, so it should be a happy ending.
I hope so. Any other good news, hopefully in the future for Hilton Head Island?
Well, the farmers market at Shelter Cove recently opened, and it was a rousing success. They had over 40 vendors, and they of course have produce and specialty food, kettle corn and handmade goods. And did I mention kettle corn?
Yes, you did. Now we know it is a favorite of yours, so we'll have to get you some
and
one of these days.
And it's every Wednesday from 9 to 1 through the end of October. So make sure you get over there.
All right, I bet we'll see you there too. BJ Frazier of the Hilton Head Sun, thanks so much for your time.
Thank you.
And joining me now, Charlie Clark. She's the Vice President of Communications with the Hilton Head Island Bluffton Chamber of Commerce. Hi, Charlie.
Hi, Allie.
Hey, some great news. We mentioned earlier in the program that tourism dollars are up an all-time high for 2011, according to figures released by Dwayne Parrish with Parks, Rec, and Tourism for the state. But you've got some other great news, too.
Yeah, I do, Allie. You know, Hilton Head Island was just ranked as the #1 beach destination by Parents Magazine. And that is a phenomenal coup for us as a destination. I mean, this is obviously a magazine at a very targeted audience that fits our demographic and who's coming to Hilton Head Island. So it's great news for everybody.
What does that mean? Is there any way we can convert it rather into how many people will end up visiting here? Or do we definitely know when people read about it, some will end up coming?
Well, you know, when it comes to tourism marketing, exposure is king. And the great thing about a ranking like this is being noted as the #1 beach destination by Parents Magazine is that it's a third-party endorsement. It's not an ad, it's not us saying how terrific we are, it's somebody else saying how terrific we are. And Parents Magazine and their millions of readers are always looking for suggestions on where to go, where to stay, what to do for vacation. So it's a travel influencer. The good news too about things like this Parents Magazine hit, which we've been actually working with Parents Magazine for quite a while. is that it can turn into other coverage as well. I know they had asked us and requested information. There's a potential Today Show hit. That Hilton Head Island could also be noted from the Parents Magazine perspective on the Today Show. So that means more millions of viewers are going to be exposed to Hilton Head Island as the #1 beach destination.
And you're talking about exposure that doesn't cost money. You mentioned too that you even had a request for footage from the island, still photos, etc., for possible use on the Today Show, right?
Right. You know what the thing is when it comes to tourism coverage, PR is a big part of marketing, and that kind of coverage doesn't just happen. There are folks at our level here working diligently every day to kind of garner that coverage. We work with a PR firm that specializes in tourism and travel. So when you see a hit on the Today Show or when you see something in a magazine, chances are we've tried and worked diligently to put it there. The same thing happens at the South Carolina state level as well.
Now, we mentioned the figures for tourism dollars being up in this state. How about in our area?
Yes, occupancy numbers are up for Hilton Head Island as a destination. I think with the renaissance that we're seeing in terms of island redevelopment and reinvestment, we're only going to see that number grow. It's always great to have additional new news to put out on the PR front, and there's definitely been no shortage of that with Hilton Head Island. So we have seen our numbers up last year in occupancy. And what also is important, you always want to watch month by month. We tabulate and look at these numbers very closely. Occupancy may be up, but you always want to make sure that average daily rate is up, something in the industry known as RevPAR, which says not only are people coming, they're spending more, and that's great news for our Lowcountry business community.
Well, some important figures for us all to keep in mind. Charlie Clark, Vice President of Communications with the Hilton Head Island Bluffton Chamber of Commerce, thanks for bringing us that great news.
Thanks, Sally.
And when we return, we'll have a conversation with the author of the book, Toxic Charity. Stay with us.
I'm here at the top of the Harbortown Lighthouse with Nadia Wagner. She's the lighthouse keeper. Nadia, this is a Hilton Head icon, but many people don't realize it's so much more.
It is, Debbie. The view is so thrilling. Many people don't realize you can climb to the top. We've had many marriage proposals, even weddings. You can shop at the top for gifts you won't find anywhere else and wave to friends and family on our live webcam. It's the high point of the Lowcountry.
You do not want to miss this view. What's the admission cost, Nadia?
It's only $3.75 per person, and kids 5 and under are free.
Make this a must-see while you're here on Hilton Head. Thanks, Nadia.
Thank you. See you soon.
Toxic Charity is a charity that intends to do good but ends up hurting the very people that it intends to help. That's part of the definition from the author of the book Toxic Charity, Dr. Robert Lupton. He says when charities do things for people who have the capacity to do it for themselves, those charitable efforts actually weaken them. He calls it one-way giving, which he says is fine in a crisis situation, but in other situations, he says, one-way giving produces dependency, erodes work ethic, and diminishes dignity. Dr. Lupton founded a nonprofit organization, FCS Urban Ministries, and has worked for the past 40 years in inner city Atlanta. Recently, he came and spoke on Hilton Head Island at the invitation of the Community Foundation of the Lowcountry. He sat down with us and we asked him to explain how charities and nonprofits can avoid functioning as toxic charities.
Reciprocity is the word. In other words, we find ways to exchange. The belief is that everyone has some talent, some resource to bring to the bargaining table, to the exchange. And so it becomes the responsibility of those of us who are stewards of resources to develop those systems of exchange where everyone who participates benefits from it, and no one is diminished or depreciated because of the system.
What if someone hearing you says, oh my goodness, I am on the board of a charity that would be defined as toxic, or I work for a charity or a nonprofit that would be defined as toxic. What the heck can be done to change that?
I would prefer to deal with the person that's on the board, because that's a decision maker, and that person can look at outcomes rather than just activities, and ask the question that business people very often ask: what about the ROI, the return on investment? Fortunately, those folks on charities, boards, are asking that ROI question more and more frequently. And so they are in a position to influence the practices and the policies of a charity, to begin to change them, alter them from creating unhealthy dependencies into a charity that actually empowers people. So that's a very important role to serve. Very often staff people who get it and want to see change don't have the power to implement change. So board people are very important.
So those board people have to have measurable outcomes, or at least know what those measurable outcomes should be.
That's right.
And maybe charities haven't been thinking that way.
Charities have been measuring activities. How many people have we fed? How many clothes have we given out? How many backpacks have we given to children? We are measuring activities, but have not been doing a good job in measuring outcomes. What is the downstream impact of all this charity? And when we look closely at it, it's not a very positive picture. There is a progression, maybe a regression would be a better term, in one-way charity, giving to people when it's not necessarily a crisis situation, but more chronic poverty. There's a progression. You give somebody once and it elicits appreciation. Twice and it creates anticipation. 3 times and it creates an expectation. By the 4th time, it's an entitlement. That's a predictable downward spiral from one-way giving. So that would be, that's something that I would throw in.
The name of Dr. Robert Lupton's book again is called Toxic Charity. We want to thank the Community Foundation of the Lowcountry for allowing us the time to speak with him while he was here on Hilton Head Island. When we come back, all the hubbub up in Beaufort as American Idol's Candice Glover pays them a visit. Stay right there.
I'm here at the top of the Harbortown Lighthouse with Nadia Wagner. She's the lighthouse keeper. Nadia, this is a Hilton Head icon, but many people don't realize it's so much more.
It is, Debbie. The view is so thrilling. Many people don't realize you can climb to the top. We've had many marriage proposals, even weddings. You can shop at the top for gifts you won't find anywhere else and wave to friends and family on our live webcam. It's the high point of the Lowcountry.
You do not want to miss this view. What's the admission cost, Nadia?
It's only $3.75 per person, and kids 5 and under are free.
Make this a must-see while you're here on Hilton Head. Thanks, Nadia.
Thank you. See you soon.
We're back with more on the Hilton Head News. WHHI's Jessa Jeremiah was up in Beaufort over the weekend, and she's going to tell us all about American Idol's Candice Glover's visit there.
Candice Glover made her big homecoming today, and WHHI was there to catch all the action, so check it out.
Everybody has to start at the bottom. Everybody has to start somewhere. I've worked on Fripp Island for 3 years in a little excursions office renting out golf carts, but I just knew, one day that I would be, bigger than this. Everybody here has been so supportive for so long, and these are the people that were here when I used to make YouTube videos in my living room. And now that I'm on the show, they've supported me from day one up until now. So I love them so much, and I appreciate them.
After all your success on the show, do you have plans to come to Beaufort after the show?
I definitely have plans to come and spend some time with my family, because this is not enough. When I was with them today, I didn't want to leave, and we have a competition to do and everything, but I really miss them so much that I would definitely want to spend some more time in Beaufort. To be honest, I didn't even know this many people lived in Beaufort. To be completely honest with you, I just knew, Beaufort's a small town, St. Helena is even smaller, so when I got here and each of the different things that I did today, there was crowds and crowds of people just screaming your name, and I lost it. I couldn't even take it anymore. you have to visit Beaufort. Like, you cannot go through life and not know what it's like to visit Beaufort. Beaufort is the most amazing place that I've ever been to. I grew up here, it's home, and it's the most beautiful place. I tell the camera and crew all the time, like, you need to take a vacation here.
So great to hear Candice's thoughts after all her success on American Idol. I'm Jessa Jeremiah, back to the studio.
Here to tell us where to go on Hilton Head Island and also this week beyond Hilton Head Island, Nancy Watts. Hi, Nancy.
Hey, Allie, it's good to be back.
Well, thanks for coming in. I know that you have some ideas for folks maybe to head over the bridge and go into Bluffton. Tell me about that for next weekend.
Cross over the bridge and you'll find music and fun and food and laughter and happiness and wonderful people, and it's the Bluffton Festival.
Great, and that's Saturday, right?
It's coming up.
Okay, Saturday during the day. Here's a switch of gears for us this go around, but you said for people that might not be on the golf course, gentlemen that is, there's a different way to start their day, isn't there?
You know, every Tuesday they have this prayer breakfast, and it's a great way to spend your day. You got to get that man out of the house. He may want to play golf, but let him start at the prayer breakfast and meet some wonderful people who live on this island.
And that's over at Stack. So in addition to maybe doing a little praying, you get a great breakfast too.
You
I would
do
imagine.
indeed.
Okay, great. And that's on Tuesdays, right?
Every Tuesday morning at 8 o'clock.
Super. How about Paris Island? You had a thought on that as well for us this week.
You know, we never talk much about Paris Island, but those boys over there know all about Paris Island. The few, the proud, the Marines. It's if you've never been to a graduation, they have graduation services or ceremonies every, oh goodness, I don't know how often they have them, but they have them right often. But every day you can go over, visit, go to the museum they have, and you will just have a wonderful time. It's a great way to spend the day.
And finally, Nancy, the Hilton Head Art League has a special show up and running over at the Walter Greer Gallery at the Art Center, Coastal Carolina.
Yes, they do. It's a juried art show, and it's well worth your time, and you'll enjoy it.
Well, that sounds like some great fun ahead for all of us, no matter what we decide to do. As always, Nancy Watts, it's great to have you here on the Hilton Head News.
Thank you so much.
And we want to thank you for watching. I'm Allie McNair. We'll see you the next time.